The Garmin Forerunner series is one of the best, if not the best, smartwatch series, and now we finally get an Amoled display as well. Polar showed the way with the Polar Ignite 3, which I, by the way, also covered on this channel, and now the Garmin is next with the Garmin Forerunner 265 and the 265S. Right here I got both sizes for you. The Garmin Forerunner 265 is the bigger model with a 1.3-inch Amoled display, and the Forerunner 265S is the smaller version with a 1.1-inch Amoled display, and that's basically the only difference between those two models. So for the sake of the video, I will stick to the Forerunner 265 from now on. Alright, so let's start with some basic specs. So the Garmin Forerunner 265 has a standard 22mm silicone strap, and unlike the Garmin Venue 2 that I have, this one has super large holes, so you can adjust the size, but that also gives your skin a lot of air to breathe as well, which you definitely notice during some sweaty workouts. Like we're used to from the Forerunner lineup, we get 5 physical buttons in total. With the buttons on the left, you can scroll up and down by long pressing them. You either get to your quick panel with some basic functions or to your menu. The 2 buttons on the right either gets you back to the previous page or to your sport modes. Alright, the 265 has a 1.3-inch AMOLED touch display with a resolution of 416 by 416 pixel, which is on par with other smartwatches like the Samsung Galaxy or the Fossil Gen 6. The biggest difference to the previous model is that we went from a TFT to an AMOLED display, which opens up a lot of options. For instance, we can now swipe on the screen to scroll up and down or select things with a quick tap. And of course, the colors look amazing. Unfortunately, we cannot long press the screen to get to our watch faces like we can with other smartwatches, but that's just one thing that I miss, but it's actually not that big of a deal. So, the watch weighs in at about 47 grams and is covered in plastic. The bezel and the backside, all plastic, and even the buckles. The black bezel around the screen is actually not that big, and we still have a lot from the display. Plus, we get the little Garmin sign on the bottom end, which is a cool little feature. Also, swiping on the screen feels pretty smooth, so I have no lag or anything like that, and the response time is pretty quick, which I like a lot. By the way, this watch is water resistant up to 5 ATM and has 8 gigs of internal storage. Now, something that I really like a lot, but drains quite a bit of your battery life, and that is the always on display mode. Now, with the AMOLED display, we get this lovely feature as well. By default, it is turned off, and over in this display settings, you can toggle it on. Now, what I mean by draining a lot of your battery life, and generally speaking, you can say that without the AOD mode, your smartwatch lasts about twice as long. So really think twice if you really need this feature. Now, there are no extra always on display watch faces that you can choose from, and you only get one that looks similar to the current watch face. By the way, speaking about watch faces, there are about 15 different ones that you can choose from, of which most are digital. But you can also add new watch faces or customize your current watch faces. So depending on the watch face that you are on, you can change the dial, the hand, the display, the data, or the accent colors. So there's really a lot of room for you to play with. Now just right quick, the battery life and a new type of charging cable. So on normal usage without the always in display mode, you can expect to get around 2 weeks of battery life, which by itself is great. But if you enable the always in display mode, the battery life drops down to about 5 days, which may seem not too much, but compared to other smartwatches like the Apple Watch Series 8, Galaxy Watch, or the Fossil Gen 6, it is very good. Those watches only last about 1 to 2, maybe 3 days on average. Also, just in case you're interested, in the GPS only mode, you will get about 20 hours of battery life. Now, the one change they made to the charging cable is to change it from a USB Type-A to a USB Type-C, which I like a lot more since most of my charging bricks only work with Type-C, and I can quickly plug it into my computer since my USB ports are already used for my mouse and my keyboard. I mean, it's not a huge change, but a small change that made life a little bit easier. For your daily health and activity tracking, the 265 is pretty similar to the previous model or even the Garmin Venue 2. So you get an SpO2 tracker that either tracks only on demand, only during your sleep, or you can let it track 24/7, which will come in at the slight cost of your battery life. Of course, you get a heart rate tracker with heart rate alerts as well, a stress tracker with some guided breathing exercises, all-day respiration rate tracking, the usual Garmin sleep tracking that tracks your light and deep sleep, as well as your REM and awake time, plus your SpO2 level and your movement during the night. And as for last, your usual Garmin body battery. Now, I didn't mention the step and the calorie counter since those are some very basic features on every smartwatch. Now, when it comes to the activity tracking, we get tons of available sport modes, such as strength training, we get cycling and treadmill, and of course a lot of running-based sport profiles like ultra runs, virtual runs, trail run, or indoor track. So there's really everything covered that you would need as a runner. But you also get quite a few water and winter sports or even some HIIT workouts. So of course I also tested the built-in GPS, and first up, the 265 finds the GPS signal pretty fast. I mean, we're talking about just a few seconds that it takes on average. Now, I must say I don't live in a big city with lots of skyscrapers or anything like that, but I still think it's pretty fast compared to other smartwatches. The GPS itself works wonderful. After your workout, you do get a small map with your route displayed and all your track metrics, but over in the Garmin app, you can also really see that the GPS works great. Now, I didn't have it on the best GPS settings since there are a few different ones that you can choose from. So I had it on auto select, but you can also put it in a high accuracy mode or in a low accuracy mode that either uses a little bit more of your battery or a little bit less. So the GPS followed the straight line sections pretty well, and even the curves were actually quite good as well. So there's really nothing to complain about the Forerunner 265. Now let's talk about some smartwatch features, and one great feature that is a must-have on a smartwatch are the notifications. So if you run the smartwatch / Sportwatch either with an Android or an iOS smartphone, you can receive all of your messages, emails, missed calls, and other notifications from your smartwatch. But if you pair this one up with an Android smartphone, you can even get some reply options that you don't get with an iOS smartphone. That's a common thing that you just have to live with since Apple has this feature locked up for the Apple Watch. Also, since you have 8 gigs of internal storage, you can make use of the Garmin iQ Connect store and download lots of apps such as Deezer, Amazon Music, or Spotify. So once you downloaded one of these apps and hooked them up with your accounts, you can start downloading songs, playlists, and podcasts right to the watch and listen to them offline, which is a great addition to a runner's watch. So you can store up to 500 songs on this watch, which was not available on the previous model. Well, there was a normal and a music option for the 255, so it was only available on a music version, of course. You also get some basic features like a weather app with a weather forecast for the next couple of days. You get a standard stopwatch and timers, a Find My Watch and Find My Phone feature, and Garmin Pay. Now, I also covered many other sport and smartwatches from Garmin, like the Garmin Venue 2 or the Garmin Venue 2 Plus. Just click one of those videos right here to get right to them. And I guess with that being said, I will see you in the next one. Peace.